Right, now the cockpit and tunnel arm's done, it's time to start on the right hand mandible. And this is the inner workings of the mandible on this page. So I've got to put those together, and then I've just cut these off the sprue. Right, so putting that down, put the flash on. Right, so there's my two halves together. It's time to do that now. So. Right, so the fast forward construction process, I do apologise for my fat fingers and my fat hands. So there it is, all done. That was tiny. That was squeaky bum time, actually cutting that off the sprue. And the part next to it, I actually broke it slightly. But with some Tamiya extra thin, I've repaired it on the sprue. But yeah, some of these parts are bloody tiny. But it's not looking too bad so far. So that's all that page done. Gives you like a thing for check for, you know, when it's finished. So that's basically what I've done. Just put it all that in there. So that's that page done. Right, excuse my croaky voice because I've got a bit of a cough and a cold and sore throat. Now that piece is done, the inner workings of the right mandible, it's time to start construction on the main mandible wing, as it were, the front mandible module. Right, the first section of the right mandible's done. It's now time to put the inner workings of the right mandible into place. So you've got to make sure you get the orientation of that and pegs onto that centerpiece there. And then you've got all the other holes and pegs that's surrounding the two holes for the intakes of the inner workings of the mandible. So you just put that on there like that, making sure you've got the orientation, and then it's simply a case of making sure all the pins are all lined up. So you got that pin there, there's a pin there, there's a pin there, and there's a pin right in that nook there, and it looks like it's all in. And plus, now this was I was a bit more concerned about. I thought that might have gone right, that outer lip there might have gone covered up, it might have gone indentated slightly, but it looks like I could still get in there with my dry brushing, so I won't have to pre-paint these bits. I can just spray this in one go once all the pieces are on. But that's fitted quite nicely. The detail is still showing through very, very nicely indeed. But like I said, it was that piece there just above my finger, that like rod, and like the it's like a star coupler or something. Those were quite difficult, and I've already nearly had one of those star couplers on the carpet monster. But that don't look too bad, that don't. Looks quite secure. I suppose it'd be even better once the top goes on, but that's where it sits at the moment. Right, so before I put the other fascia on, I forgot to put this part on here, and I forgot to put that part on there, but I managed to slip it underneath there without breaking it, because you got to put that part in before you put that on. I think it was 1, 2, yeah, that's right. So you put that one on, then that one on. Right, so getting the other fascia. Now when cutting this off the sprue, it was connected to the sprue tree right on this part here. So when you cut it off, be very careful, and then if there's any sanding you need to do, you need to put your finger underneath there and then give it a quick sand. On the underneath, you got all these pins, the pinhole, yeah, these pins, which have got to be lined up to the various holes on the started mandible. So let's put this on there now. Right, so lining that up. Well, it's fairly easy to line up, it's just getting it to snap into place. Yeah. To be honest, that doesn't feel all that secure, to be honest. Oh, because I hadn't connected it properly. Right. Yeah, it still doesn't feel as secure as I'd like. So I'm going to put some Tamiya extra thin and put that round just to give it a bit of extra security. But on this side too, it's not like the indentations when it goes in, it's not hidden that much. So I thought it was going to be like probably about back here, but I can still dry brush that, so that can be sprayed easily. But that's the first part of my right mandible. It's actually quite thick as well. Where's my ruler? Measuring that, it's just over, well, it's about 15 mil. about 15mm or just over 1/2 inch thick. So it's got some thickness to it. But you can just about see there's a little bit of a gap. So like I said, I'm probably going to have to put some Tamiya extra thin on there just to give it a bit of extra security, because you look there's still a bit of play. But that don't look too bad for the first part of construction anyway. Right, welcome back. Last couple of days, an hour here and there after work, I finished the construction on the right mandible. I just had a few little parts to put in, and then it was the squeaky bum rod time. You have to be very careful cutting these off a sprue, whether you use your scalpel or your sprue cutters. But I managed to get them in. They went in quite well, but again, you have to be very gentle when you push them into place. Some have little pegs, some have little square rectangular pegs that fit into a slot. And then they'll like start here, and then they'll go into the engineering part, and they'll plug into a little hole there. Into the holes, you'll need to put a drop of glue, whether it be Tamiya extra thin, super glue, Revel, whatever you use. Just put a little drop in there and hold them into place. But yeah, so start there, work the way into there. This one here, that was one piece, and it actually glues into two little peg holes there. This long one was one piece. There's like a peg here, and then there was a rectangular little tab there into a little slot, one there, and then it slots into the little hole there. You've got the ones on the side as well. This triangular one was very flimsy. I think it was like a peg somewhere around here, a tiny little peg there, and those two actually be glued onto the outer edge. Another one there that was very flimsy indeed. On the underneath, if you can believe it, that long one there, and then it goes round into there, that was one piece. Cutting that off a sprue was very squeaky bum time. I almost nearly snapped it at one point. And you got that little one there. Like I said, there wasn't so many on this side, but on there was absolutely loads. So I'm quite chuffed on how that's turned out. Again, be very careful when you cut them off a sprue and pushing them down into place. Very gently do it. Warning for this long one now. It connects here, and then I think it connects there with a little square tab with a slot, and then into there. But here there was none at all. I think there was one in the middle, but it kept wanting to like bent. It was like slightly bent that way, so I had to pull it back slightly and then just put a drop of super glue. I think it was there and there. You can see it's slightly bent there. I probably put it straight enough, and then I just sanded down the glue marks from the super glue. But yeah, just be very careful when you put those on. I've also started on the left hand mandible now, so I've done all the construction for that. It's pretty much rinse and repeat like it was on that one, on the right one, so I didn't feel the need to do one of those sped up videos for that. And that's now ready to be plugged in into there like that, and pushed down. So mandible construction is getting there.